Hey everybody, this is Andy from Tennis Euphoria bringing you my review of the Babolat Pure Strike VS. So this completes the VS line for Babolat. The Aero VS, mightily popular now thanks to Holger Rune and Carlos Alcaraz, I thought was a good addition. It was retaining aero characteristics, power and spin, but it also had a bit more control with an extra string pattern 1620 and a 98 square inch head, which is all important, I think, head size when it comes to control. And the Pure Drive VS, sadly disappointing, lacked stability and didn't really know what it was trying to do. There was loads of better options out there if you're looking for power and also a bit of control. E-zone springs to mind. So with the Pure Strike VS, we have a 310 gram unstrung 97 square inch 16 by 20 racket with the promise of matched pairs being sold within a gram of each other. Mine were delivering on that promise. I actually had a third that I borrowed from a friend which was perfectly on spec, and his were basically a better match pair than mine, so it was great for me to have three. Swing weights were close. First hits with this didn't disappoint. I found that the 63 RA was really welcome. We do have a control and relatively plush orientated Babolat to consider again, reminiscent of the Pure Storm. I actually wonder whether Cam Norrie might end up endorsing this racket, because the Pure Strike VS that he uses whilst he endorses that Strike 98 is very much the Pure Storm, which this is sort of similar to. It feels sort of quite nicely simple, as a lot of control orientated rackets do. I love the beam 21, 22, 21, that extra millimeter in the middle at 3 and 9 I think gives that extra bit of stability. I had my three strung up a bit different to see what worked best. Technofiber Razor Code, Babolat RPM Power at 50 pounds, and RPM Blast for something a bit stiffer, a bit higher at 52 pounds. The clear winner for me was Babolat RPM Power of the three, and I think that was partly due to the tension that I selected, but also I do think that that is quite a decent string that worked well with this racket. Why? It's a good controlled string which is a little bit softer than an RPM Blast. You get good control without really damaging your arm. Durability isn't the best, but I think in this racket that pairs really well, and it was evident that a slightly lower poundage was working well, I think, to open up the string bed. I wouldn't say that a multi-filament or indeed a hybrid was working particularly well in this racket. However, I actually think it needs a full bed of poly strung at the right tension to really have the best benefits around that sweet spot, and also to keep under control some of its characteristics. So what do I mean by that? Well, Babolat benefits, as I like to call it, is easy power and easy spin. Now in all of the other Babolat lines pretty much that comes then with loads of dampening material, Gore-Tex or something similar, and stiff RAs, and potentially, you know, lots of damage to your arm. What I find interesting with this is that you get some of those Babolat benefits compared to some of the other rackets that I've tested recently that are decent control sticks. The Artengo TR960 Control Tour springs to mind, the Blade 98 for example, Prestige lines. So you get a little bit more power and pop from this stick compared to those, but you get really good directional control still. So I felt the need to drill with this racket before I sort of could play any points and matches, and the reason for that is that actually, particularly on my backhand side, balls could fly a little bit. Those Babolat benefits were there. There must be something in Babolat's sort of graphite layup that just delivers some pretty decent power next to other brands, and I think the beam with this one and the weight means that actually you've got enough power and enough spin potential here. But I was finding it was actually important to be very mindful of my technique. I needed to ultimately be mindful of my backhand, of my right elbow, to make sure that that was coming up. Ultimately, I needed to make sure I was brushing up on the ball enough to create enough spin to keep the ball in and keep it from sailing. However, when I was doing that, then I was definitely getting good benefits. I was getting good kind of natural depth Babolat benefits with precision and directional accuracy, which I think is the sort of best way to describe this racket. In terms of feel, so it is very comfortable. I suppose a lesson in terms of not getting too carried away with just looking at stiffness ratings and R8 is that the Blade V8 is one of the only few rackets recently that has caused a few arm issues for me, just tenderness, nothing sort of serious. This 63 R8, slightly stiffer in those respects, no issues whatsoever, very comfortable, and I've obviously got a full bed of poly in this, strung pretty low, of course, so I think that comfort is definitely there. And if you're someone who's seeking directional accuracy but still mindful of having a bit of power, then this is a really good option for you. The feeling is really nice actually. You feel connected to the ball, and the string bed I found was actually consistent. Those Babolat benefits carry through into two other areas as well. Serve, I think it's a really nice racket to serve with, both with regards to directional control and a bit of power. And the 310 unstrung weight means that you've got enough at net to be able to just get something on it and the ball comes back, enough to have a little bit of feel to place the ball around as well. So this racket ticks boxes for players out there who are all court players for sure. So it's a really good review from my perspective. I don't think this needs any customization. Comes with a leather grip, which is great. I sort of heard that leather grip wasn't the best, and I suppose I'd overall agree that there's better out there. I think this racket would suit a one-handed backhand really well. I found myself in warm-ups and things messing around with a one-handed backhand, bringing out my old Stan Wawrinka, and it was great with that. So 2 thumbs up from me. If you're looking for a good control stick, still retaining some comfort but with some Babolat benefits, then you should definitely check this out. Hope that was helpful. Subscribe to the channel and drop it a like if it was, and I'll see you in the next one.